Всем привет, дамы и господа, с вами Алекс Назаренко. Топ-10 худших перформансов в видеоиграх. Я такой, чё это, бля? И сейчас до меня дошло. На превью был Кристофер Уокен. Значит, это будут худшие актерские работы в дубляже игр. Прочитав описание, я убедился. Окей, давайте слушать. Мукбанг Реакт, гречка с мясом, ромашка. Let's go.
Cannot let it fall into Dr. Wowie's hands. You must recover.
Это что, Базилов озвучивал? Га-га-га-га-га-га.
All the energy immediately, Mega Man.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and
Mega Man.
today we are
Hi.
only looking into some of our finest working actors and seeing when they gave their worst work for gamers. These are the top 10 worst performances in video games. Let's see who needs to take some acting classes to refresh their chops. Bruce Willis, Apocalypse.
All right. Getting close to my...
Я в каком-то видосе из прошлого уже говорил, что Брюс Уиллис охуенный певец. Это была тоже реакция на Watch. Если бы он пел, это было охуенно.
old place. This looks like the right spot.
Блять. Брюс Уиллис. Брюс залез.
Nice
Женский душ. Это так мемно смотрится.
Back in 1998, having a star like Bruce Willis headline a video game was a major novelty. It drew in audiences, it added legitimacy to your title. It was good for everyone, except for, in this case, the player. His involvement couldn't disguise the mediocrity of Apocalypse.
Это выглядит как игра с Ютуба, где нужно управлять человечком, стрелять. Я даже вам покажу, какая. Сейчас. Бля, где она? Во. На вот эту похоже. Мастер скрытности.
Originally, Willis was intended to be a sidekick character the player would fight alongside, but during testing, developers quickly realized that players wanted to control Willis himself. As a result, his dialogue was hastily reworked to make him the central character. This resulted in some...
Мне кажется, что дело еще и в репликах, потому что их изменили. Брюс не смог их прочитать заранее. Ему пришлось это делать прямо в студии сразу же.
Clearly rushed and very flatline delivery. Throughout gameplay, he occasionally throws out a cheesy one-liner, but his lack of enthusiasm is evident, a hint of what would come in some of his... throws out a cheesy one-liner, but his lack of enthusiasm is evident, a hint of what would come in some of his later film roles. Oh! Burn.
Lock and load.
Unknown, The House of the Dead 2.
Dogs.
Охуительно. Хуй пойми, кто озвучивает The House of the Dead 2.
Of the AMS. Time they made a move.
It's hard to find the right words to describe this one. Once you've watched this compilation of Goldman's dialogue from House of the Dead 2, you'll understand. Even though the actor is unknown, the impression has stayed. Every line is delivered in a flat, almost robotic tone, with emphasis placed on random words in each sentence. It's like the actor learned how to use their tongue that day. In an era where games like Metal Gear Solid offered cinematic storytelling, it's baffling that this passed for professional voice acting. Some people will argue that this is charming and that it's reflective of the era. Those people are stupid.
It's been a while, hasn't it? My friends from the AMS.
Я хуй знает, кто это.
Yes, it's me, Goldman.
Sam Worthington, Call of Duty.
А ну-ка. Охуительно.
Black Ops.
The Russians want to give us one last display of brute force. Let's give them one last display of courage. You with me?
Sam Worthington seemed like the perfect actor to excel in a role like Alex Mason, but his leading man looks couldn't distract from his performance. He looked perfect for the role, but it turned out he wasn't. Whether it's the material or his approach, his performance in Call of Duty Black Ops feels flatter than day-old beer. On paper, Mason is a compelling figure, a brainwashed assassin with ties to the JFK assassination. However, Worthington's interpretation leans heavily on shrill line delivery and constant complaints about the numbers. It's an unconvincing, jittery American accent. His performance
Надо было делать спокойный американский акцент. Ну ты чё, блядь, Сэм?
in the sequel was admittedly better, but that's like saying, well, this meal of bugs and dirt still tastes better than what I ate yesterday.
Видите, в сиквеле, в продолжении, точнее, он научился говорить с спокойным американским акцентом. Думаю. Так.
Because yesterday I ate dog
Hudson, do you copy? No response. Continue as planned.
50 cent blood on the sand.
Queens, baby.
Ну, блядь, он озвучивает самого себя.
That's where the real OGs live.
Yes, but is New York owned by gangsters?
Hell yeah, the gangsters own the streets.
The streets.
Imagine having the audacity to center a game around yourself and then coming out the gate with a mediocre performance.
Чё хочет, то и делает.
50 Cent's acting range has always been somewhat limited,
Но он играл в последних неудержимых.
but we never quite realized that until it was too late. The same monotone delivery from his films carried over into his video game venture, Blood on the Sand, which became even more glaring when so much of a video game performance in this era of gaming relied on the voice. The game's absurd premise has 50 performing a rap concert in the Middle East, getting paid with a diamond-encrusted skull, and then embarking on a violent quest to recover it after it's stolen by terrorists. While this setup had potential for
Чего?
violent quest to recover it after it's stolen by terrorists.
Ну, короче, у нас тут своя у американцев своя бриллиантовая рука.
While this setup had potential for over-the-top fun, the game ends up as a dull, repetitive shooter with a very dull performance.
Блять, ну... 50 Cent же, в него стреляли. Ему пуля в язык попадала. Хули ему не выпустить стрелялку. А что мог бы выпустить 50 Cent? Новеллу, блять?
From the main man himself.
Ну, я тут проблем не вижу. 50 Cent сделал сам про себя игру и озвучил ее, как сам хотел.
I hope he got paid 50 cents for his acting job. Boom, what a joke. Too late for a clapback, 50 Cent. I'm moving on.
One fact.
Look, motherfucker, I'm here to meet with Yazid, the owner of this piss hole.
That's me. I'm Yazid. But all my friends, they call me Eddie. 50 Cent, I don't believe it. So, how can I help you?
Но этот чувак справился лучше, чем 50 Cent.
Saeed Kamal.
David Duchovny, 13.
The helicopter. I remember.
Helicopter.
David Duchovny's relaxed demeanor translates perfectly to voiceover work, often coming across as either disinterested or detached. Wait, that's a bad thing. Let me take that again. David Duchovny's relaxed demeanor sucks for voiceover work. His performance in Area 51 could serve as a sleep aid, but his work in 13 sets a new low for lack of effort. While the game features a unique comic book aesthetic, enjoyable gameplay, and
Графон прикольный.
an engaging plot, it's held back
Вайбы Borderlands.
by Duchovny's monotone delivery. He brings the same flat energy to every scene, whether it's a quiet exchange or a high-stakes gunfight, which saps so much of what the game is trying to make. Don't get it twisted though, game good, voice acting bad.
The timer. I've
На голос похуй, если игра хорошая.
fallen into my own trap.
Christopher Walken, True Crime, Streets of LA.
My old friend Henry Wilson used to say, people dare to dream here.
Я надеюсь, что он катается на BMW.
He liked that about LA.
Кто шарит, тот шарит.
I'd say, Bull, dreaming will get you killed.
This is a terrifying list for me because with each and every entry, there is a small group of defenders, lovers, and passionate believers in the performances given. None more so than probably Christopher Walken in True Crime Streets of LA. Even when Christopher Walken is phoning it in, his charisma often carries the day, and I'm not saying he phones it in much, it just happens from time to time. However, his charisma doesn't translate as well to voiceover work, where his visible presence is absent. This is the case with True Crime Streets of LA, where Walken's poorly written and lacklusterly delivered opening narration immediately sets a shaky tone for the game.
Мне кажется, он такой... Вступительное слово, похуй. Я озвучу его на отъебись.
Now, it should be made clear, Like I said, some people are fans, so if you're watching this and thinking, wait a minute, I think he did good, more power to you. But it's not a 50-50 split, it's more like
50-50 cent.
2080. The underwhelming car chases and shootouts don't do the game any favors, and while Walken's role is relatively minor, his awkward, hammy performance whenever he does show up keeps the game from being great.
Nah, not like Nick. First, his mother died. She was a dear soul. Then, his father, Henry, got fingered in a drug trafficking scandal
Как будто не доигрывает.
and simply disappeared.
Mickey Rourke, Rogue Warrior.
The brass running this op is a dumb desk jockey named Admiral Travis Payton. He tells me the mission is beyond classified, so I'm running a skeleton crew. Minimum footprint, maximum impact. SOP for assholes like me.
Now I know I've crammed this particular game into so many lists of mine, so I apologize, but it's not because it's good, it's because it falls into so many wild categories. Something clearly went off the rails during the development of Rogue Warrior. Originally envisioned as an ambitious first-person shooter, it devolved into a dull, poorly designed third-person game that can be completed in just a few hours. The game's big selling point was the voice work of Mickey Rourke. Unfortunately, his performance sounds like it was recorded during a brutal hangover. His character is a raspy,
Игра с похмелья? Но это ближе Тому Харди.
foul-mouthed jerk, making him outright unpleasant to listen to.
Просто тогда он еще не так хайпанул, как уже хайпанул Микки Рурк.
And the only emotion Rourke seems to convey is frustration, probably at having to read the script.
Present for Admiral Payton.
Мне заплатили. Я читаю на отъебись.
Tell him it's evidence for the defense in my court-martial.
You got it. I heard the commies cost you 2 good men, Commander. I'm sorry.
Not as sorry as those motherfuckers.
Bill Murray, Ghostbusters, the video game.
О, ведь ему недостаточно хорошо заплатили за озвучку, как за роли в фильме.
Oh, names, Ray. I don't want to get too attached to this kid. You know, just in case. You remember what happened the last guy.
Bill Murray is undeniably a living treasure, but it's easy to tell when his heart isn't fully in a performance. And here is a performance that's been a point of argument since its release. And a lot of it comes down to the same problem that we've seen a few times on this list. Dull charm doesn't translate to voiceover. For years, Sony tried to persuade him to return for a third Ghostbusters movie, but he repeatedly turned down their scripts, so we were all coloured shocked when he, along with much of the original cast, lent their voices to the 2009 video game.
Фильмы? Хуйня. Видеоигры? Заебись.
Murray even claimed to have enjoyed revisiting the role, which might surprise anyone who's heard his performance. His low energy, mumbled delivery is often hard to make out, and the sharp, cynical wit that defined Venkman in the movies feels absent. He does, however, give one of his most animated performances. God, I hate myself.
You mean the one with the extra dimensional antenna that drew Gozer to our world so he could
Ну камон, Билл!
attempt to destroy it? Had a nice view of the park, though.
Jack Evans, Mega Man 8.
This meteor seems to be emitting a powerful energy signature. Something this powerful must not fall into the hands of evil.
I can't express this clearly enough, but every time I'm having a bad day, I go and watch a particular Jack Evans Mega Man 8 compilation and it turns my mood immediately. Every time Jack Evans as Dr. Light speaks, his slurred words, awkward delivery, and unpolished syllables make it hard to take him seriously. It's truly some of the most comical voice acting that's ever been recorded. On top of this, he even stutters, which reaches peak comedy when he stumbles over Mega Man's name.
Пиздец, чувак. Ну ты подготовился хотя бы.
As if he's momentarily forgotten his own robot son's identity. Just do a second take, guys. He clearly messed up.
А, похуй. Дубля второго не будет. Давайте дальше озвучивай. Так, Джек, продолжаем.
When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wily. You
Вау.
must recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
Мегамен.
But where is Dr. Wily?
И почему ты заикаешься на моем имени, батя, блядь?
That's a good question.
Действительно хороший.
Various actors, Chaos Wars.
Let's see. What am I hungry for?
Уру.
Don't buy anything yet. We have a shopping list.
Мне похуй.
We need to hurry. Everyone's waiting for us.
Нам нужно поторопиться.
This is so unbelievably funny that even now, while writing the script, I can't stop rewatching scenes from this game. There's a certain charm to the chaotic mess that is the English dub of Chaos Wars, but the voice acting is undeniably terrible. Everything from the inflection of words to the tonal delivery feels completely out of place, especially in scenes meant to be tense or emotional. It's hard not to suspect serious issues with direction and casting behind the scenes. Rumor has it that the voice actors weren't professionals,
Да ну нахуй.
but were instead connected to the production team, with some sharing surnames with members of the localization staff.
Это ирония, блядь.
Though the game has gained a cult following due to its infamously poor voice work, I can't help but imagine the novelty wearing thin by the time you hit hour 14. I just checked reviews and I'd like to report back. It did.
Monsters.
Monsters.
That's too bad.
Это плохо. Озвучка наша тоже плохая.
They're gone now. You smell good.
Hey, Uru, don't leave me.
Не бросай меня, нам нужно еще катсцену доделывать. Если это можно назвать катсценой. Учитывая, что это новелла. Ставьте лайки, подписывайтесь на канал, жмите на колокольчик, чтобы не пропускать новые видео. Пишите комментарии, задайте мне телегу. С вами был Алекс Назаренко. Всем спасибо за просмотр. Всем пока.